power of momentum. If you felt it before, you understand that it feels like magic, that magical things can take place when you can create an upward spiral of momentum. And in this video, I want to show you how to do just that. Now, if you've experienced with this before, you realize that things start to take place when you're in that positive frame, that forward momentum. And it's a real thing. You can't actually measure it, but even just watching like a sports game, you've seen those moments where you're like, damn, there's momentum shift. So what is that magic? And in this video, I'm going to break that down. Now, if you and I have not met yet, my name is Troy, and I want to help you in your life. So let's first look at like the benefits of being in momentum. So oftentimes in life, when you feel stuck, what's taking place is you're probably on a downward spiral of momentum. I believe that momentum is always taking place. It's either going downward or upward. And your goal is to understand which frame or which direction your momentum is moving and to course correct when necessary. And so let's look at that. If you feel stuck right now, it's probably because you're not taking the right action steps to create momentum. One thing that I want you to do is start to create a winner effect. And what that means is you're understanding and acknowledging the wins that are taking place in your life. Oftentimes, one of the biggest challenges you face is because you're conditioned, very important point, you're conditioned or trained to look at your success as outcome focused. Meaning like when I get to this point, then I get the reward. I get to feel good. When I buy the new car, when I'm making a certain amount of money, when I have the right relationship, then I can feel good about myself. But what you're doing is you're setting yourself up literally biologically to only get rewards, dopamine, serotonin, all those types of energies or natural mechanisms, right, to feel good. Testosterone can even increase if you're a male when you feel like you're winning in life. But if you have a mind that's conditioned only for the long-term success, then you're not going to get those things. And so it's much better to bring it down to a practical level and understand the little things that can help create success or momentum in your life. And so literally by writing down or making note of making your bed in the morning, you ate a good meal, you did the phone call, whatever it is, puts you into that winner effect. So what I want you to first, I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that more in a second. But first, just realize for a lot of people, that's what's taking place, is they're so far off in where they can actually feel successful that they're never actually arriving. They're always striving. And so you want to bring that energy much closer. You're already there. You're already arriving, working on being better. So you retrain and condition your brain to find successes and those wins so you can get the actual natural biological response for somebody who feels like they're winning. Now, the next thing you want to do, or that will happen as you feel like you're creating momentum, is you're going to get access to your own brain. That sounds weird, right? But more access to it. So a lot of times we think that, if I read more books, I've listened more podcasts, whatever, then I'll be in the position, I'll be that person who people will follow essentially, or they'll listen to. Well, realize that a lot of communication, in fact, a majority of communication comes down to what's called sub-communication. It shows up in the way you present yourself. So imagine you're standing in front of a group, and if you don't feel like you're winning in life, if you feel like you're on that outcome-focused reality like I was just talking about, your body's going to display that. You're probably going to be slunched over. Your eyes are going to often droop down, be low. Your voice is going to be tight and constricted. And so you don't feel like you're worthy of being in that moment. So why would anyone else follow you? It's biological. We won't, right? You can't beat the DNA. And so what I want you to do is to put yourself in more of that mindset of arrival. Like, I'm already here. I'm doing things well. I'm on the way to learning, and that's a good thing. And what that starts to do is give you access to your own thoughts, your own ideas. Like, one of the things I'm often looking to do myself is to create momentum, and then I let my brain figure out the next steps for me. As an example, let's say I love to travel. I was just telling someone, probably 3 months or 3 weekends out of the month, I'm going somewhere doing something. Now, look, the reality is, man, sometimes I just don't know how I'm going to even afford it. I don't know. I ain't got the cash for that, but we're going to shoot the shot anyways. We going. And when I do that, my brain starts to figure out how to create more money for me. Now, this isn't an invitation just to, let me take the credit card out. I budget, I do all that stuff, right? But it's almost like my brain, I put myself in this momentum, and then my brain is like, damn, this is fun. How do we do more of this? And then as I'm maybe coming home, I'm like, damn, this is a good idea, or I should implement this, or I should try this. But what you're probably doing is you're not even getting any movement. There's no momentum in your life. It's the same mundane thing over and over. So what I want you to do is to make a list of 10 things within 0 to 2 hours driving distance of where you live that you can access completely free. And this is going to allow you to have an access point to create momentum. Like a mentor taught me once. They said, Troy, Like I was writing out my business plans. Like I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to change the world. And he's like, yeah, what are you going to spend the money on? I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't know. I'll probably buy this or that. Right. He's like, dude, you don't get it. You don't even have a palate for what it means to be successful. Like you can't taste what it's actually like to go anywhere or do these things because you're not actually doing it. It's fictitious. It's a delusion. It's just in your brain. And so he was like, you got to start like going out, doing things, even if it's free, figure a way to be around these types of things. And then your brain is like, oh, this is what it's like. This is why we do the things. And so you might be experiencing that right now. You're not spending any time getting access to even a hint of the life you want. So just start 0 to 2 hours doing things that are free. And pretty soon your brain is like, oh, this is fun. And then watch what will happen. Your next step will be is to create a list 2 to 6 hours driving distance from where you live, again, that are free or very inexpensive. And then you'll start doing those things. And just think about it. Wherever you live in the United States, if you're in the United States or anywhere in the world, in fact, 2 to 6 hours from where you live, you can access a lot of cool shit. And so that's where I want you to start putting your mind into. That's going to help you start to build momentum. But you got to taste it. That's the key. And you can do it on the cheap. You can link up with a friend. You can camp. You can just go for the day, come back. You might, maybe you're a little sleepy. So what, right? But it's going to give you access and insights. Your brain will start figuring it out for you. And that's what momentum does. It's like, again, it's the magical power. If you're watching a sports game, you can't measure it. Like there's no thing you can actually point to. Maybe it's someone in a basketball game, hit the 3-point shot, crowd gets in the game. Next thing you know, there's a 10-0 run. Or it's a football game. Someone returns a punt or a kickoff for a touchdown. There's a big momentum shift. Like what is the thing? You can't necessarily measure it. But that's what I want you to do for your life is create that momentum. And so this is how you do it, a way you can do it. Your body, your instincts, your intuition have to feel like you're winning, like you're moving towards something. So on the cheap, get out there and just start doing these types of things. And that would naturally start to put you into a state of higher momentum. Okay, so how do you do it? Like right now you're stuck in life, like, yo, it ain't working. I don't feel the momentum. I feel stuck. This is the key, right? Is you have to overcome, like, it can't just take action. You have to take massive action. Because if you take a little bit of action, like let's say it's like dating, right? And, you really want to meet somebody. You're like, it's Friday night. All right, I'll go out. And maybe you go out for a few hours, nothing really happens. And the next day you're like, oh, see, it's not worth it. That ain't action, homie. Like you got to take massive action. Like you got to commit to going out. And I encourage you to stay sober so you can do more of this. But you got to go out, let's say it's 5 nights a week. And maybe during the week you got to work. Well, make a stop for 30 minutes on the way home and go somewhere social. Go to the mall, just walk the strip where it's popular, go buy some places, whatever it is. That would be a form of taking much more action. And then commit to going out on the weekends. Then commit to maybe working on your social skills. Commit to actually talking to people when you're out, being uncomfortable, all those types of things, right, is a form of you taking massive action. If you're going to be on dating apps, learn how to actually curate your dating apps, put up good photos, whatever it is. Again, just an insight into one small area of your life and what it looks like to take massive action. Like I was hanging out with my son the other day. We're playing baseball, and he's just recently started to play baseball. And he gets all upset because he made a mistake or whatever. I'm like, yo, homie, you ain't good enough at baseball to even get upset. It's the same with you. Like if you ain't taking massive action in life, sorry about it, dog, but you can't get upset. Like you ain't even, of course, you're getting the results that you got. Like you got to take massive action. Like if you want to get in good physical shape, you can't beat yourself up because you ain't taking massive action yet. Like you ain't working out. Like you ain't getting after it. Like you got to get after it, right? Are you studying about nutrition? Are you buying the right foods? Are you working with a trainer? Whatever it is, like there's levels to the game. And so look at where you're at and give yourself an honest assessment. Are you taking actual massive action? And the phrase you can remember with this is you don't punch at the wall. You're punching at the wall. And when you punch at the wall, what happens? Maybe you've even done it before. You hurt your fucking hand. And so the only way to break it is to break through the wall. Punch through the wall. That's how you break through it. And so that's what I want you to think about. In any area in your life you're trying to create momentum is you got to take massive action. And along the journey, when you take massive action, guess what's going to happen? You still might not get any results or very little results for quite a while. That can be painful. It can be disappointing. Like, damn, man, I'm doing the things. Troy said, do this. This homie said, do that. I'm doing, and it ain't working. What gives? Well, listen, the only thing that's promised to you is the process. And so you have to learn to fall in love with the process. Like that becomes the thing. Working on your skills, Maybe you got a business you're working on. You're learning the nuances of sales, of tweaking this, of marketing, of how to create this new thing, of how to work on your written, verbal communication skills. Like I'm telling you, like I've been working on my written and verbal communication skills as I'm still working on them, right? For over 2 decades. Like I remember reading about that in the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, I think was the book, Stephen Covey. And he was like, if you want to advance in your career, you got to work on these 2 skills. I was like, shit, I guess I better work on them. And they both sucked at the time. Like when I would write, it was just like this shorthand, run-on sentence. I mean, awful. I could not write. And these are skills that I did over and over and continue to do over and over and over because you use them. That's a form of taking massive action. But again, I can't be outcome focused. I got to stay focused on just the process. To me, it's fun to learn these things. Like I love sales. Like I really enjoy sales. If I believe in the outcome, right? I believe in the offer, like someone needs this. What I do is I train my brain to see all the value points. Like these are all the benefits. And then how do I communicate to this to someone? And I believe in it so much that if they don't sign up with it or use it, whatever it might be, like you're an idiot, dog. Like I used to look at that when I would like do fitness sales. I'd be like, I'm the guy. Like I'm going to change your life with this. And if you don't sign up with me, like that's on you. And guess what? It's also on me because I didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good job of influencing and persuading you to work with me. And you're going to get your money back 10x. And so I would like train myself to learn and understand this. But I truly believe that. And it was true. Like I was incredible at what I did when it came to training. And you just find whatever it is that you're doing and you understand it to a deep level. And that'll help you understand the process because I loved learning the process of that. I couldn't control the outcome. I could only present what it is I had to present. I think of the same with sports. Like I mentioned before, I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's something I've done for a very long time. When you compete in that sport, it's not actually you versus someone else. It's your tools that you've curated versus someone else's tools. And that can be really fun. Oh, let's bring our tools together and see who performs better. That's really it. And so when you think of it that way, you don't have anxiety. You're like, oh, this is what I got. You know what I mean? And then you go back and you work on the process. Okay, I could tweak this. I could train that a little bit differently. Ooh, I don't have a very strong game here. I could work on that. So it's always about the process. You just stay in the flow with the process because the process is the only thing that's promised to you. And then lastly, to support all of this, to build momentum, you can't just assume you will naturally do these things. Because as you know, man, life hits you, right? Life comes at you fast. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have different situations. You're going to get sick. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have heartbreaks, whatever it is. But I want you to build a system to move you towards the result that you want. And so this is, again, kind of going to that process concept, but build an actual system. So let's say it's business, right? Maybe, every other day you have to make 5 outbound phone calls. And the days in between that, you have to send an email and make a social media post. And you have to study for an hour, whatever it is, right? You find how that relates to your business, and then you just work the system. You stay consistent with it over and over. And here's the deal. When you have a system, you can tweak the system, and that's a beautiful thing. But you don't have a system right now, so there's nothing to tweak. You're just hoping you land on the right spot. But when you have a system, you go, it's not 5 calls and then make 7. Or it's not 5 calls, it's 3 and 2 social media posts, whatever it is, right? But you're learning to tweak the system, the dial as you go along, and it moves you closer to the results. So maybe your result is fitness. What is the system that needs to be in place? I need to work on these and these days. And then get better at it. I don't have accountability. That's where I'm messing up. So I need to hire a trainer, or I need to, I've talked about this before. You take $1,000, set it on the counter. I'm working out 3 days a week. If I don't, I'm taking that $1,000 and so gets it, or I'm donating it here. You're creating these non-negotiables. But build your system and then trust the system. It's always about the system. So those are some insights on how to actually, what momentum is, right? Maybe you can't necessarily point your finger at it, but you feel it. And then how to get in that upward spiral of momentum and just allow that winner effect to take over. Your brain will open itself up and create more access points. You'll come up with the ideas. You'll figure out the solutions. And it's like, sometimes it's the phrase, you got to throw your hat over the fence. Because what happens when you throw your hat over the fence? Guess what, dog? You got to go get it. And so sometimes in life, it's just that. Like, yo, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to sign up for the course. I'm going to take the trip. I'm going to hire the coach. I'm going to get the trainer, whatever that might be for you. And then you're going to figure out how to go get it. I think a lot of what you and I are doing in life, like one of our purposes here, is to step into your own power and learn how strong and capable you are. But when you're looking outside of yourself, when you're always reaching, like someone just solve it for me, someone help me, someone do this. Not that those things can't come along the way. And I believe they can and should. There is miracles, right? That's a beautiful thing. But they happen usually when you're in momentum. You're already moving, right? And then that supports you in your journey. And you realize like, man, look at the effort I put in. Look how much time I put in this thing. I'm working the process. I'm working it. I love to ski, snowboard. But guess what happens every time you go skiing or snowboarding for the first time? We call it a yard sale because you fall your whole freaking way down and all your shit just falls all over the hill. And we call it a yard sale. It's like it's all over the place. That's what happens. It's the same for you. It's the same for me. When we're trying something new, it's going to look like that. But if you stick with it, guess what? Next thing you know, you're on the black diamond, the expert run. But it takes time. It takes consistency. It takes belief. You got to have faith. You got to believe in yourself. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to face challenges. But deepen your faith and the belief in who you are, what you're capable of, and then find the people, the resources, the community to come around you and support you. If you don't have that right now, then you stay with you. You keep working deep. You keep moving forward. And pretty soon you'll be supported by other activities, resources, and people to kind of move you even closer to the journey where you're going. I love you so much. You got this. Make these videos for you. Make sure you head over to my website, troyfontana.co. I have that free mini course over there and how to boost your confidence. And also like, share, subscribe. Till next time. Peace.